A Maker's Mark so special you can only buy it in an airport. Let's get into it. Hello and welcome back to the channel, and yes, today I'm taking a look at this Maker's Mark 101, which is a traveller exclusive. It is, as a result, a pretty rare Maker's Mark bottle, and if you're thinking, Tom, I've definitely seen this on a shelf somewhere in the past few years, well, you might be right, but it's probably not there anymore. Now, when Maker's Mark 101 first came out back in like 2018, I believe it was a traveller's exclusive, airport only kind of job. Then around 2020, it did start to pop up in a few stores. You could just go out and buy it. But in the last couple of years, at least in the UK anyway, that's all disappeared. You can't buy it as a regular thing anymore, and it's back to, Traveller's Edition only stuff. Thankfully for me though, I knew someone travelling and knows I like whiskey, and they said, what would you like? A little gift for you, sir. Sent me a picture and I was like, this is the way to go. And the good thing is, if you are going to ask someone to buy you one of these, well, actually it's not an extravagance because it is relatively reasonably priced. It's no more really than the regular Maker's 46 over here. The regular also stood in the wings there. We're going to do a little taste test comparison later on, at least once we've reviewed the 101 properly, of course. But yeah, it's not badly priced. I'm not going to give you an exact price because it's only in airports, and therefore it's always kind of based on taxation and different taxation and exchange rates and all that. But I reckon about 50 quid is what this was in the end for me. That was from Dublin Airport, I want to say. But anyway, yes, not a massively expensive bottle for something that is pretty damn rare. So what do you get in it? Well, it comes in this nice box that actually filming is quite difficult because you see the kind of the foil. It's very, very reflective. I have to kind of sit this in a very particular spot with the lighting. Loads of info on the back, which we might get a chance to look at later on, but I'll try not to bore you to death with all of it. On the side it says our signature winter wheat bourbon whiskey batched for a higher proof. And let's get it out of the way now. It's Maker's Mark, therefore the spelling of whiskey is actually the Scotch way and not the American and Irish way. But bit of pub trivia for you there. Right then, this is the first time I've opened this actually. Nice looking box, and I mean, the Maker's Mark bottles always look good, right? But that was a bit like Thor's hammer. I don't want to turn it upside down, but yeah, definite Mjolnir vibes out of that one.
You're all not worthy.
Right, let's scooch this box out of the way. So, as we'd expect, proper wax dripped top there. The bottle itself, I mean, very Maker's Mark, but it looks a bit more premium, a bit more gold on it. Maker's Mark 101. Why is it called Maker's Mark 101? Well, because it's 101 proof, or 50.5%. But yeah, it's just the standard stuff that we get from Maker's Mark, really. This is a 1 litre bottle, which makes it all the more appetising compared to the usual 700ml we get in the UK. But yeah, it looks pretty good to me. On the front it says Maker's Mark 101 Traveller's Exclusive, 101 proof Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, handmade, our signature family recipe, bottled at a high proof. So it's basically this one, which is normally 45%, but 5.5% stronger. You're thinking, Tom, is it really worth the faff and the hype to get something just that bit stronger? Actually, often it is. And the reason I can prove that it often is the same reason this bears the name 101. Now, of course, rumour has it that the reason they bottled it at 101 is because one of the bigwigs at Maker's Mark said, you know what, that's my favourite, we're going to bottle it at that. The reason everyone else thinks they bottled it at 101 is this. No one gets excited about regular old wild turkey, but the 101 happens to be one of the most hype affordable bourbons in the world, and well, for good reason, because it's really, really good. By the end of this video, or in the comments now, let me know if you want to see these two put head to head. That's for a different day though. Today it's all about Maker's Mark and how much the 101 differs from the regular counterparts. Okay, let's get this open. I don't know what they put on the underside of the wax, but it's hyper sticky. And I think we're going to be disappointed, as I was with the regular, in that it's not a proper cork top. Yeah. Screw cap. I mean, look, I know it's probably better, but I just want the cork pop sound, I'll be honest. So that is a touch disappointing, but it is what it is. Let's get a small dram. I'm not sure how you meant to hold this. Like, it's a bit... I've not got tiny hands, and it's a bit much. But anyway, let's give this a go. Right then, in the glass, nice, golden. It looks like bourbon, if I'm honest. Maybe a smidge darker than usual. It should be. It's a bit stronger. Looks quite dark in the bottle. In the glass, not much really between it, although we'll look at them properly side by side a bit later. But yeah, looks nice enough. On the nose, big, rich cherry. Oh, I'd say actually that's punchy. Like, it's not strong, it's not ethanol burn, but big flavours, huge oaky barrel note. Oh, I'm trying to decide whether it really reminds me of regular Maker's Mark or not. And I think it does in its sweetness, but I'm used to Maker's Mark feeling so accessible, easy, sippable, just kind of, you know, no difficulties in it at all. That, well, whilst I wouldn't say this is difficult, it just feels more brash, more bold, rich, depthy, complex, you know, all the words really. So yeah, it's definitely got hallmarks, but it's definitely something newer, something different. For clarity, I've never tried the Maker's Mark barrel strength. That is on my to-do list, so I don't know how it compares to that. Probably that's even more extreme, because that's about another 6 or 7 ABV points up, I believe. But sorry, proof points up, not ABV points. But anyway, so caramel, fruity, cherry, oaky, bit of apple in there, few citrusy, zesty notes as well. It smells very nice. Like, it's going to be rich, big. It's not quite got to that like depthy, leathery tannin thing though. It's much more oaky, char. Yeah, still younger bourbon notes, I guess. No age statement on this. No age statement, I think, on any Maker's Mark products as far as I can recall. But anyway, let's give it a go. Cheers. Immediately big, fruity, that proper fresh apple, and a load of orange zest in there. Oh, it's deeper. Oh, it's burny. Slightly burny. That's good. That is good. It's sweet, but it's not as sweet as these two over here, I'm fairly confident. It's big fruity notes, but so much barrel, oaky, slightly bitter char. Really rounds it out. It's almost savoury by the end, but it's not peanutty, it's not leathery, as I said. It's none of that. It's just straight up kind of semi-sweet, semi-savoury wood note, which shouldn't be a surprise. It's how it's made, but yeah, you don't always see that all that much in a lot of whiskies. Reminding me a bit of Bakewell tarts, cherry Bakewells, that kind of thing. A lot of flavour notes in here. I'm not going to give you 300 point notes because it's pointless. That's what it's reminding me of right here, right now. It has just been opened. I'm sure over time it will get even better as it opens up and breathes, but I have to say, I'm impressed. Like, Maker's Mark, I said it when I reviewed these two head-to-head a month or so ago now. I said that years ago, before I was properly into bourbon, like, I knew I liked it and I liked trying a few different ones, but there wasn't that much available in the UK, and it was just really a case of whatever you could get. Maker's Mark was always that one where I was like, I like this. It's got enough going on, but it's not overly harsh, and I didn't need to become, well, I guess acclimatized with like barrel strength stuff and that sort of thing to appreciate it. But now I have become kind of acclimatized to appreciate that kind of stuff. I always feel that maybe it's a little bit soft, just a little bit subdued somehow, even though the flavours are still absolutely brilliant. This might be the answer, because this gives me a lot of that finesse that is in the original Makers, but with a bit more boost, a bit more body, a bit more, well, just to go out and consider, if I'm completely honest. Right then, let's get these two poured out and give them a quick side by side. And the only one with a cork, you knew we were going to get a cork pop today at some point. Right then, on the visuals, the 101 is a touch darker, more orangey than the regular. No surprise there, it's just a stronger version of the same thing. The 46 though is, well, in effect still the same whiskey, except it's been finished with those French oak staves and is a little bit stronger, although it's 47% despite being called Maker's Mark 46. Yes, we know why, but they could have just made them the same ABV or changed the name because, well, it would have made more sense. That though, actually, I think the 46 is darker. It looks a bit more rich, a bit more, yeah, but that'll be from that finishing process, I guess. So interesting to note. Right then, that 101 does smell unbelievably good. The regular, now I see it massively. But you would not think that 5.5% ABV would make that much difference. Obviously, the original has opened up a bit because it's been open for a while, but it actually feels more aggressive, more tinny is the word that comes to mind. It's not a flavour thing, it's not an aroma, it doesn't smell like metal, but you know how like when a structure is tinny and it feels just maybe a bit hollow and not quite robust enough, the 101 feels like it's got much firmer foundations. The 46, softer, sweeter, caramelly, but again, that's that finishing profile and is just a touch stronger again. So, remind myself on the 101, that is pretty special. Right, the original. Cheers. After I took a sip of the 101 and started taking a sip of this, the aftertaste from that 101, something I'd never picked up on the first taste, was a massive amount of kind of that char crisp from the top of a creme caramel. Came in massively. I wasn't getting a huge amount of vanilla and caramel out of it before. It's definitely in there on the aftertaste. You've got to let it just slide for a while. The original though, I've already forgotten what I was going to say about it. Soft fruit, soft sweetness, soft everything. And somehow the ethanol creep in the original is way higher than it is in the 101, even though it's not as strong. Yeah, don't get me wrong, the 101 is hot eventually, but the 101 starts kind of feeling hot from the top of the throat all the way down, whereas that 101, yeah, just kind of eventually landed and was a bit of heat kicking about there. But it does just feel like an empty version. Like there's no great discrepancy in flavour. It's just that, well, actually, I think the 101 will allow you to see a lot more of the flavours that are in the original that otherwise might be too subtle, too soft to really pick out on its own, unless you are a complete expert, which of course I'm not. Anyway, the 46. It's just a fruit and vanilla bomb, that. It really is. I love it. It's fantastic. Nice oaky profile. That French oak, like it's a distinctly different woody note to what you get on the 101, but I've got a new favourite, Maker's Mark. Not going to lie, that 101 is superb. Do not go out on holiday just to get one from the airport, because there's chances are that airport won't have it and you might be disappointed. But for a 50 quid bottle, if that was available all the time in the UK, Wild Turkey 101 may have found its match, if I'm totally honest. So it's probably going to happen anyway, but let me know in the comments below if you want me to pitch these two head to head to see what the dealio is, because yeah, it's going to be interesting. The Maker's Mark undoubtedly more expensive, but it might just be better, you know. It really might be, or at least it's going to give it a proper run for its money, but we won't know until we put them head to head. But yes, I think really that is all I've got to say about it. In my opinion, the 101 is far superior, certainly to the regular, and the 46, well, I was torn as to which one I really preferred between the 46 and the regular. The 46 is a more mature, considered, it should tick all the boxes, but somehow, because of that extra profiling, it just, well, maybe it's too sweet, maybe it's too easy for me, and I wanted a bit more depth, and the 101 does that in droves. So yeah, big fan of that. Very nice indeed. That is all I've got to say about it. So as always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. If you haven't already, subscribe if you will be so kind, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.